I don't exactly live near an ocean, and in fact, I've actually paid a ton of money just to be able to go to an ocean. But I do live in an area where there's lots of rivers and streams and even glaciers that feed those rivers and streams. They are some of the most beautiful places to me, and I just go sometimes to relax. But if you follow the path of a major river here in my hometown, well, what you'll find is that eventually that water ends up in the Atlantic Ocean or the Arctic Ocean. And that means anything being put into those rivers can land there. This is a major problem, and it's one of the reasons that I decided to join up with other content creators that have been led by Mark Rober and Mr. Beast in helping to clean up our oceans with something called Team Seas. So today I'm going to show you how you can do just a few little things in your home to contribute to this or to contribute directly to the Team Seas effort. Now, please watch this one to the end so you can just pick up one little thing that you can do differently to contribute. One of the things I've always focused on in the smart home space is to try and point you towards items that are going to give you longevity in your home. And I try not to focus on things that work for a short period of time and then you're going to end up throwing away. This is because I don't want you to waste money. But someone came on the channel just the other day and they said, I never have smart bulbs last more than a couple of years. And while this stopped me in my tracks and I had to sit there and think about it, I also figured out that that hasn't been my experience. So if we're talking about a smart bulb and we're trying to reduce the amount of plastic, we don't have to just talk about, okay, go buy a smaller bulb and then fit it in the same fixture. That will help a little bit, obviously. But what I can tell you the big thing is if you're going out and you're buying an $8 smart bulb from someone, then you're not doing yourself any favors. So I sit and I tell you guys about Philips Hue, and lots of people freak out at me and they go, blah, 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 that's so expensive. And I get it, but there are a lot of reasons that I continue to recommend that product, including the fact that that light bulb right up there has been in my home since I started the channel. This is 4 years old. It's more than 4 years old at this point, and it's been rock solid. I've never had a Philips Hue product break, and it continues to work, and it's one of the most used smart products in my home. So yes, they're expensive, and that's even what that individual said. Don't tell me to go buy a product like that, but you're not doing yourself any favors by ripping through $8 smart bulbs when that one cost me $18 4 years ago. The other part of the strategy is that you can switch from a smart light bulb to a smart light switch. And this won't be available for all of you. And actually for myself, it's not available in the place I'm in because it's a rental and they don't want me changing a bunch of light switches. So this works when you don't need the color features and it works when you own the place. But this is a great strategy actually for not having to replace smart bulbs consistently. We're coming to a real change point in the industry, and what I mean by that is when the Matter standard hits, a lot of products are going to work with that standard, and then there will be a number of products that won't, and that's kind of an inflection point in the industry. Just this week, I heard from Samsung, yep, we're fully in on Matter, we're fully in on Thread even, and Google recommitted to the Matter standard. Amazon, Apple, both of those companies have recommitted as of late and said we're in come early 2022. So these big companies are getting on board, and what that means is they're bringing lots of little companies into the fold, and they're now developing for each platform individually. But what you might have noticed is I'm not talking about a lot of products that other creators are talking about or that companies are marketing heavily. And one of the reasons I'm not doing that is because of this. I want to stay focused mostly on companies that are working towards this, because this drives longevity into the products you're purchasing now. Obviously, I can't tell you every company that's working on this standard, but what I can do is show you a number of the ones in today's video, and I can leave a link down below that you can check in on at any time when you're considering purchasing a product from a certain company. So go ahead, check that out, and if you have questions, you can of course ask them down below. I'm always answering. I used to work for an oil pipeline company, and if you've been following us for a while, then you know that, and you also know that I can't discuss all of the details, but I can tell you that one of the biggest, or actually I think the biggest cost to that company was power. That's because it takes an incredible amount of energy to move oil from market to market. Now, what this means is that we're expending all of this effort to get oil to a market where it can be turned into plastic. So if you can eliminate that part of plastic production, well, then you're saving not only the effort and all of the materials that go into that process, but you're also actually saving a little bit on the energy and therefore CO2. And I don't care where you stand on the whole CO2 or climate change thing, it doesn't really matter. The fact is that we can use that energy in a lot better ways in our society, and that peak pricing for power is often driven quite a bit by industry, or much more than we give it credit for. I've seen this firsthand. Anyways, the point is that these big tech companies have actually come out with ways to reuse plastic products in their own products. In fact, when you purchase any Google Nest product, or really a lot of the smartphones from these big companies, you're buying a lot of post or recycled materials. In fact, they're 50% on almost every Google Nest product I own. Plus, Amazon's doing this same thing. The Echoes and the Fire TVs, all of those products are 50% recycled plastic, plus a lot of other recycled materials. And even Apple has come out and said, we're 35% recycled plastic in the HomePod Mini, and they're doing something else that's really important. They're focused on recycling rare earth metals or rare earth materials as well, with 99% in the HomePod Mini. So there are many companies out there today with programs like this, and you can vote with your wallet to support things like this. I think it's really important, and I include it in reviews. Even when you guys aren't looking for those details, I'm telling you about these recycling and energy efficiency programs that these companies are doing. There's something that tends to be a necessary evil, or at least it's been a necessary evil in my smart home for a while, and that is that we have these sensors that we buy, and then they require batteries. Now, batteries do have actually a lot of plastic, a lot of different kinds of batteries do anyways, and when you're using these kinds of things, you want to do the proper thing and recycle them properly. There are a few options on the market when we're talking about sensor or battery-based devices that allow you to maybe not use this at all. So I showed you this one from AOTech. Here's that sensor. Fantastic sensor. It's Z-Wave. It does a lot of great things, has a lot of different sensors on it, but right inside there, you should be noticing that there's a USB port, and that's because you can actually plug this directly into the wall and get even better capabilities out of this versus the battery setup. The final piece to longevity for me is what you can do with a product at the end of its life cycle. And we've already talked about a few of the recycle programs that companies like Google have available for smartphones, and we're continuing to see trade-in programs with Amazon and many of their products. But what can you do from a security perspective becomes a bit of a discussion. Wi-Fi based products can be a bit of a minefield, and especially when we're talking about things like cameras and other Wi-Fi products that you bring into your home. What some security experts have gone and done research on is that some of these products are keeping your information, and it's not just your Wi-Fi network ID and password, it can be something about other devices on your network. So I've never felt super comfortable selling my Wi-Fi products after the fact. I feel much more comfortable passing on Zigbee and Z-Wave products. Now here's a Zooz Z-Wave Plus product. I don't have any concerns passing this on after I've done with it, especially once I've unpaired it from my smart home hub. Same thing with this IKEA motion sensor. Delete it from your hub. I'm not really worried about these trying to store information and passing them on and having people really try to pull much from it. Plus I think, and I've done this personally, when it's a trusted friend or it's a family member, these are things that we can pass on to them, and I even worry less about Wi-Fi products when I'm handing them off to those people. I tell them I don't want you to go give this to someone else, but if I'm done with a product, I think those people can receive our smart home products. But the big way today that you can contribute to this is actually directly. Now, Team Trees did an amazing job, and today as I create this video, there's over 23 million trees that have been donated and already more than 8 million in the ground. One of the things I really liked about that was that you could donate in someone else's name, keep it completely anonymous if you want, and I think we're gonna see the same thing out of the Team Seas website. So you can go directly to that, check it out, drop in a few bucks and assist everyone in cleaning up the oceans and our rivers and everything that you care about there. So go check out that link. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, don't hate, automate.